these people have had too much coffee. And yes, I'm referring to the Eshnunna Statuettes, or statuettes of two worshippers. These are sculptures in the round, in a gesture of prayer, waiting for divinity to appear, and they are pretty interesting. Their purpose is to sit in a temple. These would be mass-produced, so you would have a lot of different men and women, and you can see, if I bring up my pen here, children. In fact, this is your average family of, well, there's the half child. You know, there's always 2.5 children, there's the half. But what happens is they would buy these statuettes to represent themselves and their family. They're labeled. So we have a name label here, for example. And then these would be put inside the temple, usually by a priest. The idea was to basically tell the god that you were eternally in prayer, that you are always there. Because the gods don't realize that when you're 6 inches tall, there might be a slight scale issue. And the large eyes, honestly, 12 years of Catholic school, a lot of mass that I had to go to, and glasses like this were an idea back in the 80s and 90s. And these are very simple geometric forms. The simple form gets across that idea of mass production. And I should point out, the ankles, for example, are gigantic. These people did not have very high salt diets. The problem was that the ankle is a part of the human body that when sculpted in stone or clay, brittle materials, strong but brittle, they tend to break. And so they would build them up quite large. So we have these very, very large legs to support the weight of the statue to prevent it from breaking. And then we would have very, very small arms. And we know that they are mortals. How? Because there are no animalistic characteristics. Also, there are hundreds of these found, which tends to get across the idea that these are probably mortals, since there are a lot less gods than that. And these are not strict profiles. These are general forms. Very similar to, for example, Christian art, where you would see an image of Jesus or an image of Mary that tends to follow some kind of model. It's very conventional. However, it isn't very specific. So, for example, we don't actually know what these people would have looked like. The Eshnunna statuettes are very, very similar. They are very basic forms. So, bearded man or bald man. There are a couple of simple changes that you can make, but otherwise they are generally very, very similar. The large eyes, again, are about eternal wakefulness, giving the impression to the god that you are always there, always worshiping them. And it gets really disturbing as we zoom in closer and closer to those gigantic anime-type eyes. And when we look at these, what we have is the idea of religion being particularly key to this population, to the point where they want to create these statuettes or purchase these statuettes to represent themselves in the temple. Larger statuettes mean you have more money, or more detailed statuettes mean you have more money. Simpler, smaller ones mean you have less. And they're there to invoke the god, to make the god believe that you are always there, to put the god on your side. And when you think about it, really, no matter what your belief system is, having a god on your side is usually something that people really do seek out. They see it as fortuitous, as positive for their lives.